I'm Brenda. Welcome back to my quilt room. A little while back, I had a viewer ask me if I could please do a Scrappy Heart block. And I said, sure, I can do that. So it made me think, many years ago, I made a quilt and I only had very tiny space to work with, but this is what I came up with. And I just came up with this on my own, and it might have been near 4th of July. I wanted to make an Americana type quilt. And so I came up with this heart block and then the little friendship star alternating and then with sashing in between. Now I quilted this on my lap on the sofa at night, and it's all by hand. And even though it's really old and it's kind of getting worn, we love it and we still use it. It's great. And I'm going to show you how I put together this heart block and the friendship block today. They're easy. This can be another completely scrappy project for you. What you're going to need, excuse me, you're going to need 5-inch squares. And I have typed up all the instructions. They're in a PDF with pictures that you can download, so you don't have to worry about writing anything down or remembering it. But here are the pieces that you're going to need. You'll need 2 colors that are for the heart, and then you'll need a background color to the heart. And if you like, you can use a contrasting color in the middle of the heart. And here is a sample of one that has a little contrasting different color in the middle, just like I did in my quilt many years ago. So how you're going to put this together is you're going to take your heart color and your background, and you're going to stack them on top of one another. Draw a diagonal line down the center, and then sew your scant 1/4 inch down each side and cut those 2 pieces apart. And what that will form, you're going to get 2 half square triangles that are going to form the bottom of your heart, and you will stitch those 2 together, matching your heart color. Then next, take your 2 where you've taken your contrast color and sliced it into 2.5-inch rectangles. Sew them together on the short side. This is going to become the center. So you've stitched them together. You're going to line up your seam and sew it on top of the bottom of the star, and that forms the center of the heart. Next, you will take your 5.5 5-inch square, charm square, that's the heart color, and cut it into 2.5-inch by 5-inch rectangles. Now these rectangles, you're going to take your other 5-inch background and you're going to cut it into 4 2.5-inch squares. And you're just simply going to make flying geese with these. You will sew, draw a diagonal line on the back of these, and sew from corner to corner. On each of these, trim away your seam allowance and press your background color, and that will form 2 flying geese units, and you will stitch them together on the 2.5-inch side, lining up all your seams. Sew this together on top of the center, and then when you square this up, you will square it to a 8.5-inch block is what this will measure at. Now this one is a little bit smaller than the one that I made all those years ago, but I thought with all the pre-cuts that we have, 5-inch squares would have been the easiest to work with. And so now I'm going to show you how to make the friendship block that I did to accompany this. And like I said, the instructions, I have all the instructions written down in the PDF for you. Let me show you a few other ones that I made so you can see things that are scrappy and different. Here's one where the heart was pink. I think that turned out cute. Here's one that's sort of blue, and then the heart was a little bit darker, which I thought that was pretty. Here's one that's, if you use the same background fabric in the middle of your heart, this is a blue one, what it came out and looked like, and I thought that was pretty. And these I really don't think are too big. If you didn't want to sew a whole bunch of them together, I could make a table runner, or you could make pot holders out of those. Now let me show you how to make the friendship block that was in the quilt. And here is the little friendship block. And it too will square up to 8.5 inches. So you'll need a background, which is white, and you're going to need at least 2 of those. And they are, I believe they were 4 inches. And again, I have all the instructions already written up for you. And you will match it with a dark color to offset your star. Sew those off of your diagonal line and cut them apart, and you'll have 4 of these units. And then you'll also have 2 dark with your star color. My star color is the yellow. These are 4 inches. You're going to do exactly the same thing. You'll draw your diagonal line, stitch down both sides, and cut them apart. And you'll have 4 of these. Then just open them out, press whichever way makes the seams match up the best when you put your unit together. I guess I can just turn all these out. And you'll have one 3¼ inch square to put in the center when you sew it together. These will be squared up to, once they're trimmed, to 3¼ it's in the directions, yeah, 3¼ inches. Okay, and then this one's pretty easy. I told myself, put the dark color in the corner and the light color out. It anchors your block. And then there's the first one. Here's the center. And these little friendship stars are easy to make. I need white there. You'll see them in another block called the Milky Way. And that's another old block. There's that. And you'll sew it together in a 9 patch. You'll sew all that together and it will square up to 8½ inches. So you can sew these block to block, or you can offset them by putting some sashing and setting squares in between. But there are 2 easy scrappy blocks. They don't all have to be the same color. You could break it up and use different colors if you want. And that is what I have for you today. So stick around. If you've noticed the quilt that I have on the wall behind me, I'm gonna tell you where you can get that free pattern in my next video. So until then, we'll see you later. Bye.